Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Press the Action Button on digital-delusion.com. I am your host, Joshua Barber, and with me here today is D-Pad once again. How are you, D-Pad?
No, I'm doing alright. How about you, Josh?
I'm pretty good, a little bit tired, but I'll get over that. What about also with me is Alex Coons, and our website will be GameFace. How are you?
Good.
We're going to have to keep this episode a little bit brief. Unfortunately, we're getting this up really, really late. We recorded the entire episode on Sunday, and
we had a little technical difficulties.
Yeah, my computer locked up before I was able to save the final file, so we lost everything, unfortunately. But we're getting it to you now, so that's all good. We don't have a whole lot of time, so we're going to make this episode very brief, unfortunately. You guys are going to have to cut down the chatting to a minimum and run through the gauntlet of, yes, that was an Epic Battle Axe reference, the gauntlet of things that we have for this week lined up.
I was hoping it was more of a Gauntlet reference. I'm more of a Gauntlet fan, Gauntlet Legends, Gauntlet Dark Legacy.
Yeah, good series, but Epic Battle Axe is it's another podcast done by Daniel Kaiser, Tony Grice, and Brent Adams, and it's really cool. It's fun. I like it. Anyway, first topic is that the Game Developers Conference, Sony finally announced to the world and showed off their motion controller, the PlayStation Move. And it kind of looks like a vibrator, really, but it looks like it's got a lot of potential. It looks like it's got the full motion of the Wiimote with the Motion Plus attachment, which I think is kind of fun. The Motion Plus attachment makes the Wiimote work, basically.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of silly how Nintendo always finds a way to do that with every one of their systems. Like with the N64, they had the
expansion pack.
The expansion packs, yeah, exactly. Like, why don't you just build it in with the system and make it right the first time? And every time they release a system, they're like, "Oh, our system is great. Our system is fantastic." Okay, wait, no. Okay, now it's fantastic. Okay, seriously this time.
It raises a little bit of concern that they're wearing themselves thin a little bit. Usually, when a hardware developer tries to invent and market peripherals, a lot of times people fall out of favor because they start to launch products that require use of the primary product and peripherals and it's supposed to expand the target audience. But ideally, it's like the Sega Genesis with the 32X and the Sega CD, which at one point was a novel idea, but for the end of its run, they started releasing products that required all three, and really narrowed their influence down to each market. So they're not following these things.
Yeah, they also kind of screwed up in having three massive freaking plugs to just plug the entire thing. It took two freaking power strips to plug in your Sega. Come on.
Probably sucked all the power out of your house too.
Anyway,
like you turn the machine on and all the lights dim.
Yeah, kind of like when they powered up the first computer for the 40s, while it ran on vacuum tube and everything. It dimmed the lights in the whole city. Anyway, they showed off some games with this, and there were some that I thought looked kind of cool. They showed off the iPad thing, which really showed the controller working in conjunction with the PlayStation Eye, which we already know works pretty well, because we had that since the PlayStation 2. They also showed off a whole bunch of mini-game type stuff, but they showed off some more stuff for the more hardcore audience. They showed a street boxing type game that looked pretty cool, and the one I'm most excited about is SOCOM 4. You guys see anything else in the presentation that interested you? Any games or anything?
I think the iPad looks like a little bit of an entry, but it still looks really cool.
I thought iBoxing was pretty cool.
Yeah,
The controllers, I don't know. I mean, you might say they look like a vibrator, but I think they look pretty cool with those little glowing balls on the front.
yeah, I've heard a lot of complaining about the balls on various websites and stuff. I'm not sure I get that. Whatever.
I think it looks kind of like electronic screen. I thought it was just a video effect when I first saw the ad.
Oh, they're actually on there.
Thing for it on your hand.
I did like when they did a quick audio-only podcast on Epic Battle Axe. They called it "Wood Collar Balls" after the Sony move. That was pretty great. But SOCOM 4, you are able to play the entire thing with the motion controller, and it looks like it plays similar to a game like The Conduit, which is actually the control scheme for that is actually pretty darn good. And when done right, it might actually be far more accurate and far more attuned to using a mouse and keyboard than to thumbsticks for first-person shooters.
So wait, you don't use the controller? You do it all by motion?
Yeah, it's the sub controller, which is the worst thing in the world, by the way, has a thumbstick on it, just like
Right.
nunchuck things.
Right.
And obviously, you can move forward, backwards, and straight. So, shoot, that's what it looked like.
So you actually aim like you would with a Wiimote.
Yeah. What I'd really like to see with this is I'd like to see what companies such as Naughty Dog, who did Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, and Uncharted, Insomniac, who did Spyro the Dragon, Ratchet and Clank, and the Resistance series, or Sucker Punch, who did Infamous and Sly Cooper. I'd like to see what they could do with this. It's nice to see what Zipper Interactive is doing with it, but there's got to be more second-party
I want to see some platformers.
Yeah, there's got to be more second-party Sony support. And I'll give you this: when they showed off this controller being used with the with Little Big Planet, that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, the first one was a masterpiece. I couldn't even imagine what they could do with the motion sensors.
Are you talking about Little Big Planet or
our Little Big Planet? I mean, with all the flipping and turning and twisting and dropping and lifting, and possibilities would be endless.
I'd like to see a sequel to Okami.
Oh, that would be good.
PlayStation 3.
We are getting a sequel to Okami, but it is for the Nintendo DS. I'm going to see how that will be.
Oh, with the stylus.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. There's a lot of
sense.
potential there. Anyway, we should move on. Rock Band 3 was announced. And they didn't announce any tracks or anything like that. They just said, oh, by the way, we're making Rock Band 3. It's going to revolutionize the music genre once again. What are we thinking about this, guys? He just plucked my bass to the microphone.
It seemed fitting for Rock Band. I always thought the bases for the Rock Band games were pretty cool too. They had like buttons on the top and then buttons down by the higher frets so you could shred.
I don't know. I don't really get this. Why people keep spending money on the same game with different songs. They're not changing the bass terribly much. I don't understand why they don't sell it in installments with new song tracks on it. It seems like it's going to be one of those things that's ubiquitous when we think back to this decade that just passed. That little rock band, and everybody will go, oh yeah, rock band, and then someone on the side of the room will go, oh yeah, and there are like 20 of them, and everyone will just kind of go, ah.
Oh, D-pad, your phone was ringing, buddy. Oh, by the way, did I mention it might be on the side of Wilton joystick? been to the site, or before, you probably already noticed that. The staff page will be up soon. We'll get your information for that later on, D-pad, when we have more time.
D-pad and joystick.
I think that's fitting.
Like
It works
a dynamic duo.
It works together. Yeah. I tried to do that as a reference to control. Anyway, I wouldn't put it past them to revolutionize the genre once again, because they did when they did Guitar Hero. They ended up Guitar Hero to someone else who kind of like the ground. And they did when they did Rock Band. And they're running Rock Band. Rock Band. Lego Rock Band? Green Day Rock Band? Come on!
I could see Lego Rock Band being cool, but Green Day.
Well, Lego Rock Band apparently is a whole lot more kid-friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
With its song choice, it's got a whole bunch of pop and stuff you got sick of hearing back in the day.
Like stuff that they would play on Disney Channel.
Probably. Miley Cyrus in a Rock Band game. That's what we need.
Hannah Montana in Lego form.
Yeah. Okay. Third topic. Unreal 3 is going 3D and it is getting Steam support. This means
Thank God.
This means that your favorite Unreal games, such as Gears of War and Mass Effect, will be on Steam. Well, I think Mass Effect is already on Steam. That's the same one. But any game using that engine, and there's a whole bunch of them, will be able to be on Steam if the developer so chooses. The 3D is interesting. When I say 3D, I mean like Avatar, that kind of 3D, where you need glasses. Yes, virtual. And I don't know if this is going to be something you'll be able to switch on and off in the options menu. I certainly hope so. That would be kind of weird otherwise.
I wonder how they're going to do it if they're going to use the Master System method of the wireless glasses that have shutters built into it, just have an alternating frame.
Wait a minute, I thought those had a wire.
Well, they had a wire, but it would be Bluetooth these days. That
Yeah.
might actually turn out pretty well.
Yeah, today it would be wireless. Back then it was wired. Everything was wired.
Never actually got a chance to use that technology. I think maybe it was immature because back then it had to divide the frame rate in half. 30 frames per second, normal gameplay. Playing it virtual reality would take it down to 15 because it alternates between frames for the left eye, frames for the right, and then the little mechanical shutter in the glasses would switch back and forth and separate them out. But today, with the higher refresh rates on TVs, they might actually enable 60 or more frames a second, and I'd be anxious to see how that looks. I mean, it'd be very comparable to the Real D technology that they're doing in movie theaters right now.
I just kind of wonder if this is going to wind up being a gimmick and it's going to eventually die out. I mean, 3D is going to die out more than once. You had something to say, D-pad?
Yeah, every time they bring up 3D, it's always like creates slow resurgence. Oh man, 3D! It's like you're actually there, but it never lasts. Like, does anybody remember Virtual Boy? I sure do.
I wish I didn't.
I remember seeing it in the Sears, and I put my face up to it, and I was playing Wario in what was supposed to be 3D. It didn't feel anything like 3D. It just gave me a headache. I walked away with a headache, and I never saw a Virtual Boy again.
Thank God for that. Not the headache part. I would never seeing one again.
I really believe that 3D should be something for the hobbyist and media enthusiast, not something for the everyday market, because it's always just very poorly executed. Like, with the Virtual Boy, it was supposed to be virtual reality, but none of the games, save for maybe 2 of them, had a first-person perspective. That's what virtual reality is.
And they all sucked.
Most
Most of them sucked.
It was poorly executed, and I think that
3D virtual reality should be something for the real enthusiast. Otherwise, it's just going to come and go like a fad.
And, while we're talking about the Virtual Boy, 2 D-pads? One on each side of the controller? Are you kidding me? How the hell does that serve as a precursor to analog sticks? I guess that's what they were going for, but jeez.
They had to start somewhere.
Yeah, that was Nintendo's first big failure. They've had several since.
I think they've actually had a bunch of big failures before that. The Power Glove.
The Power Glove was actually done by Intel, so technically that becomes Intel's failure, but they're not. Okay. StarCraft 2 is getting a day 1 patch. And I don't know why. Why can't... I mean, StarCraft 2 is still quite a ways off. We're just starting the beta like a few weeks ago or something. And you can't add in this stuff before it's launched. Are you serious, Blizzard? You can't do that before it's launched?
What do you mean a day 1 patch? You
I mean,
play
you'll
the
have to
game,
download a patch the very first day.
So why don't they just include that in the game?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. It kind of pisses me off.
It must be a really buggy game because they've been working on it. I feel like they've had it perfected for about a year now, and then they just, it's just the idea of the game construct, and then they've just been tweaking it and making minor changes to it ever since then for like about 2 years now.
To quote the nerd and throw out a bad clone-worthy pun, it's a Blizzard balls.
Wasn't there something that saw a commercial released recently, and the game was completely, in order to protect it from being copied, it was completely dependent on the PSN or Xbox Live or whatever it was, and there was such a problem that it did not play, like, for any of the people who bought it on the first day. Does that ring a bell?
I think you might be talking about Alien vs. Predator, but I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sure.
I think it was. People bought it, and you could not play it because it had to be logged in to play.
That sounds like what Alien vs. Predator did. I know it had something here going for it. Okay, I showed you guys the trailer for this next one in hopes that we'd have something to talk about. Because I would be the only one that's getting these games born. I showed you a trailer for the upcoming Medal of Honor, where you play as a Tier 1 operator in Afghanistan. What do you guys think of the trailer, first off?
Awesome.
What about you, D-Pad?
Oh, that was the one where they kick the guy and he's got a bomb strapped to him and he's in a chair with wheels on the bottom.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure most people who are going to listen to this podcast have probably already seen it.
Or you can go see the trailer.
But yeah, that part alone made the trailer worth it.
Yeah, we're kind of doing everything like 4 days after the fact, because this is originally intended to be our Sunday show, and it took us most of the week, and in fact we're going to be doing a new episode in about 3 or 4 days here, so we're a little bit behind the curve, I'm sure you can tell.
So you hear that, guys? You better hurry up and listen to this in 3 days to do your homework.
Yeah, well, this isn't going to be as long as the normal podcast. That's why we're kind of rushing through the different topics and not talking about it very much. The development team was at the GDC where they showed off this trailer, and they were talking about how this game, they called in military advisors and Tier 1 operators and stuff like that, and showed it to them and got their opinions and everything. They said that the only thing that they would change, the only thing they would do different in real life from what was actually in the game, was they wouldn't whisper back and forth. They would probably do something like a series of hand gestures, which I can understand how they would leave the whispering back and forth in the game. We're not going to know military. Your average gamer is not going to know military hand gestures at all. and it would make the game more playable to hear them talking, and so you know what to do and where to go and stuff like that. If you know what I mean? The trailer was actually really good, and I'm very excited for this game. I think it looks better than Modern Warfare, to be honest. Any final comments on this, guys?
Boingo boingo lollipop stew.
Flubble, flubble, wobbly bits,
No, bajingo, lingo, tango.
titty ass fuck balls. Okay.
And not the good kind either.
You're saying that there's a bad kind of titties?
Yeah, the ones that you just mentioned.
Oh, so like when they sit out in the sun so long that the woman looks like she is, her skin is leather.
On the grill, your dad has too much barbecue sauce, and then some barbecue sauce just across the surface.
I gotta wonder why your dad is cooking boobs on the barbecue there, buddy.
Oh,
What are we talking about?
Wait.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre up in this bitch?
we're talking about boobs.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
titties,
Okay.
boobs, you get it?
Sorry, I was.
I'm leaving that in. Peter Molyneux was also at GDC, and he was talking Fable 3. He said, John Cleese, the greatness that is John Cleese, will be playing a butler in the game, which is awesome, because John Cleese is awesome. He just radiates funny, you know? He also said that the game needs to sell 5 million. 5 million? Are you kidding me? And finally, he said that the game will have Twitter support. Why? I just gained a level in Fable 3. Who gives a fuck? About the only time I go on Twitter and actually tweet about video games is when I'm showing off some trailer or if I just beat a game. And that's about it, you know? I'm showing off some exciting news for an upcoming game or I just beat a game. But Peter Molyneux has a history of overpromising and under-delivering. And he did that with both freaking Black and White games. He did that with both Fable games. I don't believe everything I hear from him anymore.
He did promise a lot for the first Fable. I remember reading about it when I was like 14, you know, and it didn't come out until I was about 17.
Yeah, that game
He
had
left a
Duke.
lot of things out.
That game had Duke Nukem Forever syndrome for a while. It was basically vaporware, kind of like Alan Wake. Although that actually supposedly has a rock solid release date. I'll believe that that's coming out when it comes out. You have anything on this? I'll take that as a no.
But John Cleese is going to be in it, that's for sure.
Yes,
It's not
that's
enough to sell
confirmed.
the song.
That's confirmed. John Cleese is going to be in it.
Even so, I don't know if they're going to be able to sell 5 million copies.
Yes, 5 million copies.
There's not even 5 million I think.
5 million, maybe 6 million copies if Mr. Bean could be it.
You wouldn't say anything.
I would pull for Craig Charles and Danny John Jules. You know, Danny John Jules would be great. He's gone, buddy. But look at the bright side. He's gone, buddy. I love the cat. Why does this game need Twitter support? I don't get that.
I guess if it's going to be really open-ended, like both the other Fable games were.
I just did a quest you haven't discovered yet. Aha. Is that showing off?
I can see it. Your quest sucks.
My quest is better than your quest.
Yeah, I'm an evil jackass. You're a nice guy, goody two-shoes. You suck.
Little goody two-shoes, little goody two-shoes.
Okay, Bioshock 2 is getting some downloadable content. That's all fine and dandy. I like getting more of a good game, although I'm not that excited about Bioshock 2 because Bioshock 1 was basically System Shock 2 underwater. Here's the problem. That downloadable content is already on the fucking disc. This is becoming a trend in the gaming industry. For example, Street Fighter 4 did this with the extra costumes for the characters.
So you put the game in, and then you have to download.
You have to download a key to unlock something that is already on the disc that you already paid for. Yes. And
So
Resident
you're
Evil
essentially
5,
paying extra for,
something you already bought.
right,
Yes.
for part of the game.
Yes, basically. Resident Evil 5 did this with its multiplayer mode. You get the standard disc, it's got the multiplayer mode on it, but you can't play it because you haven't paid to unlock it. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this.
Didn't the original Xbox do that with their DVD capabilities? The ability to watch commercial DVDs. You had to pay. It had the ability, but you had to pay to unlock that feature.
Not so much unlock it, but you couldn't use the DVDs unless you bought a controller for it, which is probably why they used the PS2 as their DVD player.
Yeah, I remember. That's why I bought PS2. You hear that, Microsoft?
Well, the Xbox wasn't a bad system. It just didn't have too many stellar must-own games. It did have some. It had, like, Republic Commando was really good, and it had Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, Fable.
I actually think I bought it just for Fable. Like I said, they promised a lot of things in that game, but they weren't actually there, but it was still a masterpiece.
Yeah, the final product itself was very, very good for what we got. It's just disappointing how much stuff wasn't in the game.
Yeah, but in its own, I mean, among RPGs, it's pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah, it was. But downloadable content that is already on the disc, making us pay for something we already bought is dumb. I don't know what purpose this serves besides companies being greedy and making you want to pay more for a game you already paid $60 fucking for. It's retarded. I hate it. It's retarded like Peter Molyneux. One last topic for this week. Steam is coming to the Mac. And I don't know if this is a huge good deal or what, because
Mac handles Steam?
Yeah, it can. They're making a version of Steam that's meant for it, but the problem is that a whole bunch of games that you get on Steam are going to require high-end computers. So most people who already own a Mac aren't going to have high-end computers to play games, the newer games that'll be coming out for it. And then they'll have to upgrade their Macs, and that is hard to do.
I have noticed that most Mac owners usually own the MacBooks, which unless it's the very latest, well, it's basically the latest MacBook, it's probably still not up for gaming. But what a lot of people are going to have to do is go to college and create the video editing lab to get their game on. That'll be interesting.
If they can get on live working, and that's completely different from Steam. If they can get on live working just fine, that'll work on Mac if they actually put it on Mac. But Steam, I mean, you're going to get like this Metro 2033 game that's coming out soon, and it's going to require a high-end PC, and then the Macs just aren't, the technology just isn't going to be there for a whole lot of Macs, and they're going to download this game and not be able to play it.
I think on Live Monthly is actually a separate console dedicated to the next.
Kind of, sort of, there is a console version of the little tiny box that you can hook up controllers to, but there's also a service you can download for your computer to play games.
So it is very much the same. This might actually open up, I doubt it, but it might actually open up an opportunity for back to come up with prestigious line of gaming, just like what Alien PC interface. It could even be, when Hell freezes over, maybe there could even be a third-party developer that would actually be basically like a customizable version of Mac if they happen to open up the rights for their platform. Like I said, probably not going to happen.
Yeah, if you want a game on the PC, there's a distinct possibility that this could turn Mac into a good gaming platform, but I just don't see it happening unless some things change in a hurry.
Yeah, it might be the beginning of a spree of changes that are not good. I mean, not too many people go back as gaming because it's focused. I mean, the only problem, the only beef that I really have with the Mac is that you cannot upgrade it. Once you buy it, you're set with that for the 2 years that it's going to be up to date, and you have to go out and buy it.
I saw that they did show the list of games that will be available at launch, and there's like 4 of them, as I remember. I know Half-Life 2 and Team Fortress 2 and Left 4 Dead 2 will be available for it, which I guess puts them at 1 year behind the PC curve there. But I don't know about this. I don't know. I'm skeptical, let's put it that way. And I think I'm skeptical for good reason. Any final thoughts on this, guys?
You said it. You held it all. It's going to be interesting to see how things pan out for that scheme. But I'm not big on my game, so I might doubt it. Currently Mac user by default or by choice, but going back to the PC platforms,
Yeah, you're going to be using my old laptop for a while, and it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's got to be more powerful than your even older Mac.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'll get that cleaned up for you, but get the hard drive cleaned up for you, you'll have more space on it. Anyway, that's the last topic for this week. I'm Joshua Barber, also known as Joystick. This has been the second kind of emergency done episode of Press the Action Button. I'll get this up as soon as I possibly can. Any final thoughts or comments, guys?
Stay classy, San Francisco.
More like stay gay.
Keep it real. This is G-Pad giving you the 411 from Pixel Town. D-Block blocking out what gangsta.
There you go, D-Pad's freestyling. D-Pad faux shizzle. A nizzle bizzle.
Word.
Anyway, yeah, this has been Press the Action Button, signing off.